In this video we're going to look at the basics of reduction and oxidation. Traditionally it was thought that the movement of oxygen in a reaction signified whether it was an oxidation or a reduction reaction. So in the past it was thought that oxidation was when a substance gained oxygen due to a reaction. For example, when we react magnesium with oxygen we make magnesium oxide. As you can see, oxygen has been added to the magnesium. Reduction, on the other hand, was considered to be when oxygen was removed from a chemical reaction. So if we take the reduction of iron to oxide by reacting with carbon monoxide, the oxygen is removed to leave iron on its own and create carbon dioxide. Since this theory, it's been determined that oxidation and reduction reactions include the movement of electrons from one species to another. For example, if we were to remove an electron from sodium, this is classed as oxidation. And if we were to add electrons to a chlorine molecule, this would be classed as reduction. These are both half equations. They are only half of a whole equation. The sodium has lost an electron, so electrons being lost is known as oxidation, and chlorine has gained an electron, that is the reduction. Now this can be shown by a simple acronym, OIL-RIG. OIL-RIG stands for oxidation is loss of electrons and reduction is gain of electrons. Now in order to create a whole equation we have to be able to add these two equations together, and it's quite simple to do. We simply have to multiply the equations to balance out the electrons in both. So for example, in the top equation there's one electron and in the bottom equation there are two. So we would times the top equation by 2 and we would multiply the bottom equation by 1. If we now add these two equations together, we have two sodiums plus a chlorine molecule plus two electrons makes two sodium chlorides and two electrons. Now because there are two electrons on either side of the equation, we can simplify and cancel. Both electrons can be cancelled out. This leaves us with the overall equation. Two sodiums plus a chlorine go to make two sodium chlorides. In this you can see that the sodium loses electrons and the chlorine gains electrons. Therefore the sodium is oxidized and the chlorine is reduced. Because the sodium is oxidized by the chlorine, this means to say that chlorine is the oxidizing agent. We can also call this the oxidant. It also means to say, because the chlorine is reduced by the sodium, that the sodium is the reducing agent. Or the reductant. It's very important to get these the right way around. Sodium has undergone oxidation. Chlorine caused the oxidation, therefore chlorine is the oxidant. Chlorine has undergone reduction. The sodium caused chlorine to be reduced, therefore sodium is the reducing agent or the reductant.